I
Oh,
was
here, let's hear it.
I was at work the other day and like fucking this is just about Tom Brady. No, it is not. It's I was at work the other day and so I leave, right? I go out to grab fucking a Red Bull and a Butterfinger at the store next door. And
Mm.
unbeknownst to me, I come back and my boss is like, "Well, I just made a slogan that completely backfired on me." And I'm like, "Well, let's hear it," you know? He said they were talking about going to this like that open house kind of place that you can go to in the morning if they're just trying to renovate and they're like, "Take whatever you want," and they open it
Yeah,
to the public.
yeah.
Well, he's like, we were sitting here discussing, who should go to this, and they're like, this person, and like, no, not him. He's not reliable enough. This person, no. And then my boss is like, you know what? Get Kenny. Kenny is reliable. He's always there at 8 in the morning. He's like, in fact, I got a slogan for this. You can count on Kenny. And he looks down at me, and it's just my swinging open chair. so, so he's like, I guess fucking not.
Can't count on Kenny. Shit.
Oh man.
Yeah. I love it when people call you Kenny. It's the funniest thing to me.
It's so fucking weird, dude. I'm still getting used to it. But I
I
did
see. Yeah,
I
because
did
you're in a town where like half the people are named Kirby.
yeah, I know. It's like this town was founded by Kirby's and not my fucking family or I'd be richer. So, anyway, hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Today we will be discussing the Goatman of Maryland and Texas and pretty much everywhere else. I will be your host this evening, Kirby, Kenny Crook Irish Kirby. You may know me as one guy you killed in Call of Duty that one time. And today our guide to the podcast will be Maxwell Murder.
Yes, hello, and you may know me from such videos as The Mothman Part 1 and The Mothman Part 2 and 3.
And 4 and 5 and 6 and bonus videos. because
Exactly.
because we have a lot of them up on YouTube, which you can find at crookirishstudios.com.
Yeah,
Or
please
not there.
follow.
Just type in Crook Irish Studios on YouTube. Max, you ready to kick this off?
Fuck yeah. So we're talking about the Goatman, and we're gonna start with the Goatman of Maryland. Um, let's see. Parent. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say the Goatman of Maryland. In the universe of Goatman, it's kind of a pussy,
It's
but
kind of a bitch. I'm not gonna
it's
lie.
kind of a bitch. Yeah. So let's see. The legend starts in the mid 50s at Beltsville Agricultural Research Center.
Of all fucking places, yeah, like the government agricultural center. But go on.
It, I think it's in Prince William County. Uh, that seems to come up. The Prince William County thing seems to come up a lot. But one insane doctor by the name of Dr. Stephen Fletcher began experimenting on goats using his lab assistant William Watsforth. That is
Lotsford.
like Watsforth. That's a good lab assistant name. It's almost like Igor.
This is the
Um,
most mad scientist fucking story ever. But yeah.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. I wish it was true. Dr. Fletcher attempts to splice this. Okay, in the 1950s, he's trying to splice the DNA of a goat with the DNA of a man. The result was a monstrosity straight out of Greek mythology, much like the Minotaur.
Or
The
the
creature,
satire.
yes, or Medusa. The creature, bereft of his existence, bleated at the night and fled into the woods to establish himself in cryptid legend.
Wait.
Um,
Medusa?
yeah, she's a
There's no
cryptid.
fucking snakes involved in this. This is the Snake Man of Maryland.
Yeah, but she's got a head of something. Okay, you're right. You're right. Medusa's maybe not cryptid, maybe demigod. Um, so, of course, being a goat man, a man that was spliced with the genes of a goat in the 1950s, using 1950s technology, uh, he's gonna crave blood. He's gonna have a thirst for blood, and he's gonna roam Prince William County looking for humans to eat.
I think he's just more pissed that he got born in Maryland.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's there to do there?
Have you been to Prince William County? It sucks.
I'm a little pissed that after researching this, I realized just how close I was to Prince William County, and there's a fucking abandoned sanitarium there. I was looking for that the entire time I was in Virginia.
Fucking shit. Yeah, there's one in Maryland. There's a lot of haunts out here. We're gonna check them out someday. So it could also be like this is my favorite one. Well, no, actually, the DNA splicing one is my favorite one because they did it in the 50s. Because that we knew all about DNA and the genome in 1950. Could also be a botched satanic ritual. So around the time of the Civil War, a plantation owner of Ogle Estate. I had trouble reading this originally. Ogle Estate, which sounds like a place like I bet he copped a field on his slaves there.
Well, he definitely did a little bit more than that.
they all did. But to name your plantation Ogle Estate, it's bad.
It's come work here, whether you want to or not.
So this part has some similarities with the Texas Goatman, but we'll get to that later. So he had a slave that was exceptionally beautiful, so he did what slave owners do or terrible people do, and 9 months later a baby was born. So the slave, fearing for her life of her and her child, fled into the woods. However, she was also a practitioner of black magic, maybe voodoo, voodoo, Santeria, who knows. Hungry and cold, she used her skills to summon a demon into the world to exact revenge on this bastard of a plantation owner and his family. While it worked, the spell was botched, and the demon was set free to do what it willed. Definitely plausible.
And I actually find that more plausible than the mad scientist theory.
I do too, actually. Could also just be a guy who herds goats.
I mean, there's more to the fucking story than a goat herder.
I know.
Just like what? Woke up one day and decided to become the fucking Minotaur of Maryland.
Well, okay, came home to find all his goats murdered by local teens, because that's what local teens do.
Yeah, so he
went on a killing spree, eventually becoming the Goatman. So in that one, I picture that he took the head of one of his dead goats and very American Horror Story-esque, just put it on his head and started just killing teens because they killed his fucking goats.
You tell stories like Kratos. Could also be a goat herder.
Could also be a goat herder.
Nothing else. But go on.
Could be an escaped mental patient, which is reminds me a lot of the bridge. The
Bunnyman Bridge.
The Bunnyman Bridge.
You know, honestly, while researching this, I realized that there is a lot of similarities between the Goatman and the Bunnyman Bridge.
Absolutely. As an urban legend, there's like the escaped mental patient is a really good one.
Yeah, literally, I mean, you could blame anything on an escaped mental patient, you know.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's like, who ate the last piece of cake? I don't know. We're next to a sanitarium. It's probably an escaped mental patient.
This crazy guy came in. He was wearing these horns, and then he was spitting blood, and he ate the fucking cake and just left.
Yeah, what a fucking dick. You know, this like checks all the boxes. It's like mad scientist, escaped slave, mental patient, and goat herder. Like, if they're gonna make a fucking horror movie, just do all four. You're good. He's an escaped mental goat herder who botched a spell and also spliced DNA with something.
I think you just wrote a movie. I mean, that's a pitch. That's literally a pitch right there.
Hey, Netflix would do it.
They would do it.
They would do it. Probably make it a 10-part series.
Yeah, escaped slave starts to herd goats, gets committed to a mental institution, goes back to herding goats, and then does some voodoo or something, and then splices some genes.
This is trademarked. Okay, I don't want you guys stealing this. We're pitching it to Netflix next week.
Crook Irish Studios production. Don't fuck with us.
We just told the entire world our idea. Botch this. Forget all that.
Exactly. That's how The Walking Dead was founded. You know, they wrote the comic book. It was supposed to be about a goat man, but they were like, you know what? Fuck it, zombies.
Yeah, fuck it, zombies. It's gonna turn into a zombie flick. It's like the script's going to get rejected, and they're like, you know what? But what if you had zombies? The History Channel would do it. They would have no problem adding zombies. They want The Walking Dead.
AMC, History Channel, anyone who... Yeah, actually, it's a good point. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about what this motherfucker might look like. So it would be, if we're talking cryptids or talking whatever, be like a hybrid beast. You know, obviously a man with either the head of a goat, or I actually think it would be really funny if it was like kind of like what are those things that are like it's like a body of a man, the body of a man on top, and then the body of like a deer. What's that called?
Centaur?
Harry Potter. The centaur. Thank you. I think it would be cool if it was like a centaur, but like reversed. So like his bottom half is bipedal, you know, human legs, and his top half is just a goat, and his hands are cloven hooves. You know?
I think that would really suck for him. I mean, like, what is he gonna? How is he gonna pick shit up with his feet? Can we at least give him like monkey feet?
Yeah, he wouldn't really be able to do all the things that he supposedly does. But I think
it's like, hold on, let me run at you with the legs of a man and the hooves of a goat on my hands. Why aren't you scared? I don't get this.
I've got horns.
It's like, yeah, don't mind him. He's not part of our family. The rejected Goatman concept. This is
exactly. That's exactly. Now it's a comedy.
No, this is the one that the mad scientist flushed down the toilet
Exactly.
and asked never to talk about.
He's a Goatman abortion. All right, so he's about 6 foot tall, apparently, and he's hairy, and of course he's bipedal, like a human. So think, you know, I don't know, I'm about 6 feet tall, so think me with the head of a goat.
Not that hard.
But, well, it's not that hard. I'm Jewish, but you know, like half Jewish by blood, so my horns are actually covered by my hair, but I do have horns. So.
And a bag of gold around his neck. I've seen it, guys. I'm his roommate.
We may have to edit this out, but anyways. I'm a ginger and I'm a Jew, so I have like no soul.
None.
None.
That's why I made him my ghost hunting partner. It's perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect because the ghosts look at me and just they're like,
he's got nothing.
And then they go to Kirby.
Yeah, and I'm like, let's go, Mike. I'll take you on. Anyway,
it's like that. It's like that Simpsons episode with the zombies where they're looking for brains and they go to Homer and they're like, no, and they go to someone else.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, okay. To continue, he's got blazing red eyes, which they always do. The lower portion resembles a goat. Okay, so this makes more sense. So he's got the head of a goat, the body of a dude, and then the lower portion of a goat. So
what the fuck were you picturing? Did you really think he had cloven hands? Yes. How would he carry an axe?
Like this.
That is the least terrifying thing on the planet. If I saw a goat man running at me holding an axe between his two cloven hooves, I'd be like, oh, that poor thing. I need to get him something to eat. I feel so bad for this guy.
I know, exactly. Well, anyways. So yeah, he's got hooved feet, heads, big horns. I'm picturing not the curly horns like a a bull goat or whatever, mountain goat.
Yeah.
It's they're devil horns. You know, like I would have if I were fully, they would be,
If you're fully Jewish.
um,
Go on. Go on. Sorry.
we're never gonna be able to find work and entertain.
No. This is as good as it gets.
Uh,
Let's keep going.
okay, think Greek satyrs. Oh yeah, absolutely. Or Baphomet. I like the Baphomet. I think he looks a lot like Baphomet.
I love the Baphomet design.
Yeah.
Like,
so if he was Baphomet, actually, the Goatman is really close to Baphomet. If he had tits, it would be Baphomet.
I mean, who's to say he doesn't? Why can't we put
exactly.
tits on the goats, man?
Yeah, that's
And
the
you
whole
know
thing
what?
about.
If he covered
Yeah.
them up, I'd want to see them.
Yes.
I'd
Well,
be
that's the
like,
whole thing. Yeah.
let them loose.
Yeah. You know what? This is we don't discriminate. Just you can let them loose. Come on, baby. But
Honestly,
that's the thing about Baphomet. If it's all dualities. He's got a dick and boobs. You know. But maybe the Goatman's different. I don't know. He is a man.
I don't know. I think you just insulted the LGBTQ community. Look, not all people with dicks and boobs are Goatman. We're not saying that.
Okay, so if we're going with like proper pronouns, Goatman is a man, not a man with tits. Okay, how's that?
I mean, why can't it be a goat woman?
That's what I'm saying. There's no, you know what? This is the problem with urban legends. There's no goat women. They're all witches, which is like you're stereotyping. You're putting people in a box.
Although I do want to say, witches are pretty hot.
Well, yeah, they're the groovy chicks.
Yeah, they're like the best.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's behavior.
Yes, behavior. His behavior, obviously aggressive. He has a thirst for blood in all of the origin stories.
He's kind of a dick, guys.
Yeah, kind of an asshole. His noise is a little like Sasquatch. Makes a high pitched squeal, bleat.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of your dumbass fucking goat man with two cloven hands. Mate!
Nobody likes me, man.
Nobody takes me seriously. Mate!
So he's attacked cars with an axe, which is a lot like the Bunny Man. Jumps on top of them, hacks. There's also like the fucking Hook Man. Jumps on top of them, hacks the trees or tires. I'm sorry, tires, so they can't escape, and drags the occupants into the woods. Again, a little like a lot of legends. Said to be responsible for mutilated pets and at least 14 deaths. I think he's probably responsible for like a lot more deaths.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into this, but I'm you know what? Weirdly, I'm on the Goatman side.
I am too.
The Maryland Goatman, and I'll explain why in a bit.
I like it. All right, so his habitat is Prince William County mostly. So country roads, a little bit like John Denver. Forests and bridges. He loves the bridges. Actually, the bridge is a theme that runs through this Goatman thing. Closely resembles a chupacabra. The Mexican chupacabra, not the Puerto Rican one. Resembles Bigfoot, which I read that, in a couple of sources, and Bigfoot is taller than 6 feet. Just saying.
Okay.
Because he's not a man.
Thanks, Bill Nye, the Bigfoot guy.
I was online, and we can get doctorates in cryptozoology for about $300.
Good. Well, good. I have $300. I can flush that down the drain.
I mean, well, I would pay $300 just to be called Dr. Shubin, like my dad.
Right? I'll be like, listen, you will respect me as a doctor. I paid $300 for this.
I'll be like, fuck you, Dad. I dropped out of high school, but I'm still a doctor, just like you.
And then at one point, someone's gonna like fall into paralytic shock and be like, "Is there a doctor in the house?" And someone's gonna be like, "That guy said he was a doctor," and I'm gonna have to be like, "No,
No.
not
One,
no, I'm not that kind of doctor. I can tell you about Bigfoot though."
my dad's not an MD, he's a PhD, so he's just as useless. So,
It's so true.
um,
I
so
I I like the closely resembles Colin that we have here, like with the skunk ape and the Kentucky's
yeah,
Pulp Lick monster.
it's all the same thing.
It's a lot of it kind of falls into the same category, and I know listeners out there are probably wondering why the chupacabra. Why is that right next to
Yeah, because
the
it's a little
Goatman?
different. Yeah,
Uh,
I think he's more like a chupacabra than a Bigfoot, honestly, or a Sasquatch or a skunk ape. He doesn't
well,
stink, so
it's said that he was the chupacabra was also born in a laboratory by the U.S. government. So in a
oh well,
sense, they would be cousins.
yeah. Actually, that means he would resemble the Puerto Rican one, not the Mexican one. So I was wrong.
But the Bigfoot, skunk ape, and Kentucky's Pope Lake monster, I can see them mistaking that. Like if you saw a
Yeah,
Bigfoot walk through Maryland, I could see them be like, "Oh, is that a goat?" You know?
that's true. Yeah, because they're more used to goatmen than Bigfoot. So like, down in the South, they're used to the stinky skunk ape, and they would say, "Oh, that's a skunk ape." But in Maryland, they'd say, "Oh, that's a goat man."
Yeah, I mean they could literally see a goat man in Kentucky or the fucking in Florida, and be like, "Hey, that's a Pope Lake monster or that's a skunk ape," because that's what they're used to seeing.
So,
And weirdly, people, these guys pop up all over the place.
they
So
do.
if you think your fucking place is safe right now, wait till the goat man migrates there.
There's a goat man working outside your window right now.
Turn around. There is. It's not me though. All right, so no
No,
restraining
yeah,
orders. I'm literally sitting in my house,
yeah,
and if you're listening to this in podcast form, it was probably like made about 2 months ago.
exactly. So if there's any goat man related deaths, it's not on us, damn it.
Yeah, it's definitely not on us.
Yeah.
Could be my brother though. He's kind of a dick. All right. So his location. Where's he located at?
Maryland, mostly Prince William County. It comes up a lot in the sources. Um, the territory ranges from Beltsville to Bowie, Maryland. Upper Marlboro, I guess Marlboro
Huzzah.
County, I guess. Yeah. Mitchellville. God, Maryland sucks.
No
Bowie,
wonder he migrated. Like,
yeah,
why the
seriously.
hell would you hang out in Maryland?
You know what? I have a friend who says this. I'm not going to take credit for it, but a friend of mine says Maryland is a garbage state for garbage people.
I really love the fact that we're probably going to end off this or episode pissing off everybody in Texas and in Maryland.
Well, I'm more worried about the people in Texas because they got guns.
They do got, dude. I'm closer to Texas. They're gonna be like, you're the fucking
Yeah.
Goatman guy.
Well, okay, but yeah, we'll discuss that.
We'll get to that in a bit, guys. Don't worry. Texas is coming up.
My girlfriend lives in Maryland, but hopefully she's moving to Virginia soon. So,
Well, don't show her this fucking episode.
no, I'm not. Let's see. Mostly dwells in caves in the wilds. I don't know how many caves there are in Maryland. If Maryland had great caves, it'd be a cooler state.
I mean, there's way caverns down near Virginia, but that's probably nowhere near Bowie in Prince William County.
There's a ton of caves in West Virginia too, but I just don't know about Maryland. Maybe up by the Appalachian Trail.
Well, there's at least one. The Goatman lives there, apparently.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Reports of which bridge he lives by vary. There are a lot of bridges in Maryland. That's true. Governor's Bridge, massive sinister structure. Yeah, it is actually. It's pretty disturbing. Just the bridge alone. Also known as Crybaby Bridge.
No, there's a ghost story behind that.
I know.
And it's terrible. You're laughing at it. Go on.
No, I'm such a horrible person. Well, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about my Jewish heritage and babies. as Lorna threw her baby from the bridge in a hysterical fit and created a haunted spot.
Yeah, so
So
basically this bridge is like you could go there at night and like fucking hear babies crying. So what you essentially have here is a La Lorena, aka a hysterical woman that killed her baby and now is forced to haunt the world around her, as well as a goat man. So that's a double entrande, dude. That's like
oh
going
yeah,
to
that's fucked
fucking
up.
Taco Bell and getting two for the price of one.
It is. It really is. Uh, I mean, she's like a woman in white, maybe, or something like that. Considered a lover's lane for some fucking reason. Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't. None of the bridges in Maryland, in my opinion, are a place to go to. Like I don't
Get
know,
it on.
cop a field, do some heavy petting.
I don't think anywhere
Um,
in Maryland is a place to cop a feel or do some heavy petting.
that's dude. Virginia is for lovers.
Yeah.
Come on.
What is Maryland
Uh,
for?
it's for crabs.
And Goatman.
Both types of crabs, the kind you get on your junk and the kind you get out of the sea.
I'll eat some fucking
Um,
crabs is all I'm saying. But go on.
I do love some Maryland crab. Beaver's Dam Road, the other crybaby bridge.
How many
They just,
fucking women are throwing their babies over the bridge? Like, you know what? I bet one woman saw it and was like, you know what? That's a cool thing to do. Maybe that's what all the popular people are doing nowadays.
they saw it on TikTok and they were like, "Oh, I gotta make a TikTok of my own. I'm throwing my baby off a bridge."
I can see that.
Um,
The TikTok craze.
yeah.
Create a La Arena.
Oh god, it's worse than eating fucking detergent.
Hmm.
Also associated with a ramshackle house behind St. Mark's Evangelical. What does that say? Evangelist School. Evangelist
Evangelist.
School.
God,
Um,
can't even fucking talk.
just as a side note, if you want to listen to a really cool band, there's one called Ramshackle Glory. It's pretty good. Um, let's see, Lotsford Road and Fletchertown Road. God, Maryland, Fletchertown. What the?
It's Maryland.
Yeah, Glendale Hospital. I'll also say the other thing about Maryland, if you drive through on the freeway, there's a lot of Glens, Glenn, like Glen Burnie, Glendale.
It's
There's a
like
lot
the
of
most
Glens.
Glen state on the planet.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
fucking
sure
weird.
someone named Glenn founded it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Glendale Hospital is a place that we should visit someday because it's a former state tuberculosis sanatorium.
I know. Oh my god. This
Yeah.
is why I'm so pissed. I found out about this place as I'm researching the Goatman because I'm like, fucking Maryland doesn't have anything. And then I
Yeah.
realized there's a sanitarium there. And I'm like, oh shit, I was
Seriously.
an hour away from it the entire time.
And I just got to say this. I blame not only the Snarly Owl, but Maryland for you hurting yourself.
Oh yeah, all of Maryland.
All of Maryland. It's just every time I go to Maryland, actually, this is before I met my girlfriend. Before my current girlfriend, every time I went to Maryland, something bad happened.
Every single time I was there.
Every single time. Um, I got a tattoo I don't even like that much. So what the fuck? All right. That's pretty much the rundown on the Maryland Goatman. It's not as much fun as the next one, I
You know,
think.
the Maryland Goatman, I was reading about this.
Yeah.
Someone kind of pointed out that it resembles the trolls from fucking Greek mythology. You know, like from back in the day, you can't pass the troll without paying the toll. No, the toll. You no, wait,
Yeah,
that's it. Hold on.
because
It's always
of the
sunny.
bridges. Yeah.
You got to pay the troll to get inside this boy's hole. Okay, so toll
He's
troll.
not a he's not a Catholic priest.
No, it's always sunny episode. You should definitely watch it.
Okay. Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, it resembles like the trolls that sat underneath the fucking bridges and demanded tolls from people, or they'd eat them alive.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
very similar. Yeah.
and the Goatman easily falls within that category, which like to me points a bit more towards him being fake.
I agree. Because a lot of these urban myths or urban legends seem to have a lot of similarity with myths from 6,000 years ago. So nothing changes.
Yeah, it's just satires, modern day satires, you know.
Yeah,
Sitting
exactly.
underneath a bridge, which is like the fucking trolls sitting underneath the bridge.
It's
Like,
just it's not written as poetically as like Homer's, the Odyssey or something.
and then you got the Hookman, and you got like the fucking Bigfoot. You know,
Yeah.
to me, the Goatman just seems like it's a ripoff of all the good shit from other stuff.
To
You
me,
know,
all this shit, they're all topals in my head.
yeah, I mean, they're
Yeah.
definitely they could be a tulpa, and
Yeah.
actually, I have some theories on that later, which we'll get into.
Okay. I do too, actually. So, okay. We want to get into Texas? Should we talk about Texas?
Let's move on to Texas.
All right, Texas. So this is the one I know a little bit more about just in general. So in Denton, Texas, um, which I assume is kind of a shithole, but I've never been, so I'm not gonna talk too much shit. I will say that when there is a Goatman Bridge episode of the Ghost Bros Ghost Adventures, and when they're doing it, there is a gunshot like very close to them, and they freak the fuck out.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah. Um, but let's see. Old Alton Bridge, nicknamed the Goatman Bridge. So this one has an actual like specific bridge instead of multiple bridges. Um, and so it's in a very, very, very densely forested area. Like it's actually like there's a lot of like when the episode they're more at risk of getting bitten by a snake or a giant spider than running into the goat man.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I completely agree with that because
yeah,
um, and anyway, we'll get into that. Keep going,
yeah,
Max.
yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, so the story is, and this is an interesting story. It's kind of sad and fucked up, but there's an African American goat farmer named Oscar Washburn who lived with his family on the north side of the bridge. He began to be recognized as a dependable and honest businessman. So North Texans began calling him the Goat Man. I think because you had goats.
Yeah, he was a goat herder himself. Like he
Yeah,
sold
yeah.
goats.
So they called him the Goat Man. The farmer even embraced this and put a sign up on his bridge that read, "This way to the Goat Man." Naturally, this pissed off the KKK, and naturally, they turned to violence.
They definitely turned to
Um,
violence. Like
oh God, I
this
know,
was
Jesus.
this was early. This is like early fucking Americas. Well,
Yeah.
like
Well,
turn to the century.
1930s.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this was actually the KKK's like height. This is actually when like Woodrow Wilson let like millions of KKK members like march on Washington, and it's rumored that Woodrow Wilson, the president, was a member. Um, so uh, on a dark night in 1930, they hung a noose over the bridge, kidnapped the farmer, dragged him out there, and he was hanged. After his body disappeared over the side, they checked on him, only to find him gone. They then panicked and ran to his house, setting on fire, murdering his children, his wife and children. Typical.
typical
Um,
KKK. Like those
I
guys
mean,
just suck dick.
I know.
And honestly, if I fucking pissed off somebody in the KKK without comment or like a neo-Nazi, go fuck yourself. We don't want you on the podcast anyways.
Um, if we're gonna just talk about that, like my a lot of my teenage years and early 20s were spent beating up neo Nazis. So fucking a.
Yeah.
Um, so another story reports a Creole slave, and this is the one that I think I heard
Oh, this is
more.
my favorite one.
Yeah, a Creole slave named Jack Kendall got lynched there in the 1860s. The goat herder was dragged to the creek bed and hung from a nearby tree. Ineptitude separ- Ineptitude is right. Ineptitude separated the runaway slave's head from his body, so they didn't. They, I mean, obviously they didn't do the calculations of like how long the rope should be. This also happened to Saddam Hussein, by the way. Uh, um, so he was decapitated. However, he was a practitioner of voodoo, and he was brought back to life in what is possibly the most metal thing ever. This is fucking metal.
This is pretty metal.
The headless man lifted himself from the creek bed, and the cowboys watched in horror as he ripped the head off a nearby goat and placed it on his own shoulders, so he had a head.
Hold on. Let me break this down for you guys. All right, like these
Yes.
fucking cowboys are sitting there up on their horses, being like, "Yep,
With their pointed.
yep,
Yeah.
that's about right, yep." And you just hear over the horizon this like soft orchestral fucking music playing. And then this headless dude, lifts himself out of the creek, strong arms the goat next to him like he's cosplaying fucking Kratos, rips off its head, and realizing he doesn't have a head anymore, he puts it on his own shoulders. I'm gonna say this right here. This dude prayed to the god of war.
He did.
It's like, and I'm telling you right now, the Maryland goat guy, we could probably hang out, but I would not fuck with this guy because he gets shit done. And
Yes.
2, I played God of War 1 through 4, and I'm currently on 5. I know what it's like to fuck with Kratos. I'm staying away from the Texas fucking Goatman.
Just by the way, if you're not listening to Ronnie James Dio right now or any of his music, you should be when you listen to this podcast. I might say that at the beginning when I cut it, but that should be playing in the background very low. I can't play it, but that's copyrighted still.
Also, think about it this like right here. Eddie Van Halen is in the background just wailing on a fucking guitar while this guy's like fucking ripping goats' heads off like it's Superman. And this isn't a horror story, Max. This is a fucking origin story, and it is the most metal fucking album cover ever. If this isn't done already, we should do it.
Absolutely. I'm writing a comic book about this. Okay, Eddie, so this is they hang him, and then all of a sudden Eddie Van Halen's there. He's wailing, he's tapping, and because he invented the tapping method on the guitar, and so like, and this guy's just taking this headless man is ripping the head off a goat, putting it on his shoulders.
And then he just does one hip thrust, and like a loincloth appears, and he's like, "Boy, give me my axe." This is fucking sick. I'm 100% down to sell this to Sony tomorrow.
Absolutely, he turned the tables on those fucking cowboys, those ruffians, those rascals.
I'd be like, Sony, I got God of War 6.
All right, let's see. Reports claim unholy burning red eyes in the woods. Of course, that's the most metal thing ever.
Of course, yeah. He just went on to be more metal.
Absolutely. Dude, he's out there. You know what? Forget what I said about Van Halen or Eddie Van Halen inventing the tapping method. This guy invented tapping on an electric guitar in 1860.
I'm sure this guy fucking invented a lot of things. Like, it's probably the reason why Texas is a desolate wasteland now. Because they summoned the fucking God of War into a creek bed.
Well, that's why they're all armed.
Yeah, that's it. They've dealt with the ghost of Sparta, and now they're like, nothing scares us.
Exactly. Reports claim eerie glimpses of a large, snarling goat man tromping through the woods, which is again metal as shit. Or a frightening apparition of a satyr carrying goat heads or human heads.
It just gets better and better. I fucking love this. I need to make this metal album. Like, I don't even need fucking music. I just want the cover.
I think I read something somewhere about him carrying literally a sack of heads or something like that. Other reports claim the apparition is either a hell-spawn demon or the goatman's wife.
So he's like rolling double, dude.
I know.
Not only does he have himself, but he's got his like his dead wife that's apparently a banshee. I'm like, Goatman is rolling hard through Texas.
This is way more like Baphomet than the other one. Texas Goatman judges you. Yeah, he does. That's the other thing that I read is he stands in judgment of you a little bit like that asshole at the front of the gates of heaven.
Yeah.
But he's got a head of a goat and he's playing guitar.
Think like Ghost Rider, but only against white people.
Yes, that's the comic I'm writing.
And that is
The Goatman only whisks away those who have slave. I'm sorry, only those that have slave owners or clansmen's bloodlines. I like that one a lot.
I love it. I love how he picks his target. He looks at you like fucking Ghost Rider and like digs into your soul and then goes, "You're fucked." And by the way,
yeah,
I'd be fucked. My heritage actually has Robert E. Lee in it somewhere down the line, so he'd be like, "You motherfucker," and I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm all about equal rights for everybody, but I'm already dead."
I'd show him my tattoo. It says equality and anarchy, motherfucker, and there's a guitar here.
You know,
so let's jam, Goatman.
This is literally the one time being a ginger and a Jew will help you.
Absolutely. And this is like Django Unchained.
With a goat. Look,
if Jamie Foxx had a head of a goat.
I just want to point out, Texas was like, "Oh, you got a goat man, huh? Hold my beer." It's like, I was researching this, and I'm like, this is fucking sick. And then I get back to the Maryland goat man. I'm like, oh, you killed 14 people. Well, you didn't raise yourself out of the depths of hell to like fucking enact revenge on the entirety of Texas. So, go back and maybe put some work in, goat man.
Yeah, hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer.
Okay. Other parts of Texas. So he's been, there's a couple of goatmen in Texas. The main one is in Denton. But Cameron Park in Waco, which would make sense. A lot of shit went down in Waco. White Rock Lake in Dallas. Dallas sucks. So it makes sense. Separate sightings in 1969 at Lake Worth by a beast commonly referred to as the Lake Worth Monster. If you look him up on YouTube, that's what he's known as, is the Lake Worth Monster. Don't know why.
Dude, they literally have just been naming other cryptids the Goatman for some fucking reason.
I know, it's fucking... Yeah, they're talking about it like the cryptid, but no, it is a demon raised from hell come to fucking play some fucking licks and kill some white people.
Yeah, first of all, why are you naming it the Goatman? Why can't you why can't you accept that a giant ape creature that's probably descended from us exists in the woods over a demonic goat that was created in a fucking laboratory, splicing like man and goat DNA? Why is that so hard?
I know. Some of these, you know what? Like, this is why we're going to be successful, is because we actually apply logic to this shit.
Like, very few people do.
It's true. We're not the assholes that are going to fucking put a dead bear in a cooler and claim it's fucking Bigfoot.
No, we're the assholes that just lost like 2 out of 52 of our fucking listeners in both Maryland and Texas. So I assume by the end of like the next 2 months, we're just gonna piss off the entire United States.
I will say, okay, I've been to Texas once. I went to San Antonio. It's very nice. So other locations there might be goatmen. Florida, many believe it was a mistaken for a skunk ape.
Whoa!
But
big shock.
This is okay. We're gonna piss off Florida too. This is how stupid people are in Florida.
That's right. Like, everyone pisses on Florida. It's okay.
It's the weighing of the United States.
It really is.
They see a goat man and they think it's a skunk ape, knowing that the skunk ape smells like a fucking rotting corpse.
Yeah.
And the goat man doesn't. So what the fuck?
The goat man uses deodorant, dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't smell like a fucking skunk ape.
He uses Axe body spray.
They probably look at a goldfish and are like, "That's an alligator."
That's an alligator. Don't wrestle that gator.
Don't wrestle them gators over there.
I've actually been working on my southern accent to piss off my girlfriend.
Oh, huzzah!
And so
Just
let me
go.
let
Hold
me
on. You're shooting for the entire southern hemisphere of the United States, but go on.
so let me try it on you. So it goes like this. So um excuse me, so Mr. Kearney, Mr. Kenny, can I get that recipe for skunk ape stew?
You sound like an old-fashioned lawyer
I'm going
that's trying to sell me something.
I'm going for Southern Dandy.
Oh, Southern Dandy.
Excuse me, Miss Skunk Ape, could I get that recipe for shit stew you've had out there?
Sure thing, Forrest Gump.
Okay.
I think you need to work on it a little bit
Yeah.
better. It would be
I
like
I
Miss
have to
Dandy. No,
I
that's
have I
English.
have to I have to get so I have to get into it, but I've noticed that accents do take practice. Anyways, also cited in Alabama, Arkansas,
Of course,
California,
Alabama.
of course.
The entire fucking state's probably seen
Yeah.
the Goat Man.
Indiana, which makes sense because that's where the KKK was founded.
Yep.
Kentucky, Michigan, Washington, and even Ontario, Canada.
You
I'm
know, they
sorry.
say the Canadian Goat Man is actually he loves hockey, maple syrup, beer, and he's far nicer than the American version.
But he's really polite.
He's probably really polite. He just
Yeah.
mostly
Yeah.
says "eh" all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. May I please have that? May I please take your head, eh?
Yeah, man, please stick your head, eh? Oh, I
It's
can't.
all it's all about judgment, eh?
let's,
Uh,
let's get a
that
beer,
was
eh?
that was Scottish. I don't know. That's weird. It
This is
said
Scottish Goat Man. There's probably one over there. You know, if there's goats anywhere, right? Like goat
yeah,
men, wouldn't it be in Greece?
exactly. There'd be, in Scotland, to be a sheep man because they like sheeps.
Oh, well, there goes our Scotland viewership. Thanks for saying they all fuck sheeps.
My girlfriend's she lived in Scotland for a year too. Fuck.
You know, I just want to point it out. I am partial Irish, partial English, uh, partial probably Scottish. So I don't know what he's talking about.
From Russia.
We don't just fuck
Um,
sheeps. Listen, cows are just as good. And sometimes it's easier to stand on the stool.
well, I mean, the thing about a cow is, anus, vagina, it's all the same thing. So you got it's a double fucking whammy.
Listen, I know I have to say this because of me, but Crook Irish's studios of its stance is not fucking cows. So don't go home and fuck your cow and say that Crook Irish Studios told you to do it.
Yeah, the cow can't consent. That's true.
The
Um,
stone, the stone gauntlet says don't fuck your animals. But
but
go on.
a sheep can.
A sheep
Um,
is fine. Yeah.
Sightings of the Maryland goat man. Okay, so this is when goat man minus was discovered. Reverdy Garner and his wife ran into a hairy goat-like wild man while pulling into their driveway in Upper Marlboro. Um, I don't even know what to say about that. Marlboro sucks, and it makes sense. Okay, 1957, same year as the last one. Various reports of a hairy horned monster in the areas of Forestville and Upper Marlboro in Prince George County. What? I'm doing a podcast, honey. I gotta cut this out. Let's see.
I'm
1960.
back. Keep going.
Okay. 1960. A young couple went to again Fletchertown Road and being and benign creating.
No, and begin. It's BEGIN.
I'm sorry. Begin creating hanky panky. I also like that you capitalized hanky panky.
Yeah, well, it's a verb.
Yeah, seriously, it's true. When they were suddenly startled by someone in the woods, the young man got out of his car to investigate, but never came back. When the area was investigated the next day, his severed head was found swinging from a tree, and his body was never recovered. So that's
Oh,
the opposite.
are you telling the story of Hook?
Yeah, right. It's the same Hookman story.
It really is. They're just ripping off the stories.
And if this was the real Goatman, they'd find his body and not the head, because the Goatman wants the heads. But
Yeah, that's a
whatever.
good point. Like, why would he
Yeah.
need bodies?
Hold on a second. Hey, honey. I know I'm really loud, but don't pay attention to the Goatman. Hey, again, we're back.
Oh my
Um,
god. I don't mean to scare your kids.
I know. I didn't even realize this. I live in a studio apartment. I kind of thought they'd be asleep, but it's
Nora,
okay.
don't worry. They don't
Yeah,
exist.
actually, honey, it doesn't exist. We're gonna debunk it. Don't worry.
We're literally about to debunk it.
Yeah. Okay. Summer of 1962, he was accused of killing 14 people, 12 children, and 2 adults. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Hiked too close. They apparently were too close to his cave. Survivors claimed the Goatman violently hacked the others into pieces while emitting a ghastly sound that
Like,
only the devil would
gobble, gobble, gobble. Hack, hack. Gobble, gobble.
That's the turkey man.
That's the devil.
According to the legend, all that was left of the scene was half part limbs,
gobble.
partially chewed, partially chewed, and a bloody trail into the cave.
Blur.
Okay, so let's just note this. There's no record that this ever happened.
This never happened. Look, here's the problem. This fucking Goatman, they're like, they accused him of killing 14 people who never existed, so I don't know how that's possible. But with the American justice system, I can definitely see it. I think he was wrongfully put on trial here. Look, I think if the Goatman existed, this is the classic case of fucking Frankenstein, right? So he shows up. He doesn't look too great because he's got a fucking goat on his head.
And he was created by a scientist.
He's created by a scientist. Everybody hates him. So the first time someone murders 13 people, guess who's going to get blamed? The fucking Goatman. Because it's 1930s and they're all fucking dumb.
It's the 60s, but yeah.
Yeah, it's still now. Oh, that's even better. They're all fucking tripping on shrooms. So yeah, obviously they're going to see a Goatman.
Exactly. They're doing peyote. Okay, another one. November 3rd, 1971, April Edwards witnessed a large creature in her backyard along Fletchertown Road in Bowie, Maryland. Probably just a hairy hermit walking through her fucking yard.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Shortly afterwards, her dog disappeared. He just ran away. The next morning, Willie Glint.
He was probably trying to get the fuck out of Maryland. This state sucks. I'm running out of here.
I'm going to fucking Virginia. The next morning, a man named Willie Gein, no relation to Ed Gein, it's spelled differently, and John Hayden discovered the dog's head in a field. I don't know, satanic panic? Whatever. Karen Hosler of Prince George County News wrote an article on it titled "Residents Fear Goatman Dog Found Decapitated Near Old Bowie." What a lame state. That was a fucking headline.
I know. It's like this is the earliest form, or not the earliest form, but definitely one of the earliest forms of fucking media using sensationalism to fucking spread their own agenda. And because
Goatman.
it's not gonna work for them to put something like dog decapitated in the field. Like that's not bad enough. They have to throw a goddamn Goatman in there.
Okay, so this next one is verified, by the way. What's your name? Hosler wrote a piece on local urban legends 2 weeks before that. So I think she was looking for some fucking stuff.
I actually want to point out, she this whole thing was verified. This literally happened. They found a decapitated dog in a
Yeah.
field. And we're going to get into why that, what occurred afterwards that actually probably spurned the Goatman legend. Um,
Yep.
but
Yes, we are.
this chick definitely did not help. All she did
No, no,
was
no.
dig into like the fucking the historical archives of the town, found some type of Goatman creature, and went, "Hey, you know what? Let's make this a big thing."
Yep. That's exactly what it was. Let's sell newspapers. So, okay, more recently, in the time of electronic mail, 2 emails were sent to W Ball TV describing an animal at Montpelier Park in Laurel, Maryland. One described it as a Sasquatch with horns, and another as a bear, except not a bear, more like a goat.
So, if I had to take a wild fucking guess, it's probably a Sasquatch and a bear. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe the Sasquatch is feeling a little frisky that day, put on some of those fake horns just to fuck with people. But I highly doubt it's a goddamn ghost man.
We do know that Sasquatch is in this world from another dimension to fuck with rednecks. That is his whole existence.
Then of
So,
course he's gonna buy a pair of fake horns at
yeah,
Spencer's Gifts and wear them around the park.
Yes, exactly. All right. These sightings are just ridiculous. I mean, the sightings of the Goatman in Texas, way scarier. Way scarier.
Way cooler too. I fucking love the Goat Man.
Absolutely.
I would listen to Rodney James Dio the entire time while reading that story over and over again. So I can be like, "Hold it, diver! You've been down too long in the midnight sea. Oh, what's becoming of the Goat Man?"
Gross.
I
Oh
would be
man.
fucking jamming to that, dude, while looking
Hell
at that
yeah.
album cover. I am calling it now. $20 to anybody who makes that album cover for me.
Absolute. Fuck yeah.
Just a
Fuck yeah.
goat man getting out of the fucking creek bed, ripping off a fucking goat's head and putting it on his own while fucking Rodney James Dio just blares on the guitar in the background. I need this tattoo.
Did he? I think he just sang, but or he played the flute too. That was right. He was like.
He's doing both at the same time, bro, because he's Rodney fucking James Dio.
I mean, it's true. He is 4'11".
We would find some way to incorporate this picture into our videos. I guarantee you that.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a tiny person. It was it was said that he thought the rest of Black Sabbath might step on him. Kind of like Spinal Tap. How to summon the Goat Man. Okay, so I like this one. I've got a couple of things here too. Okay, so the Maryland Goat Man. Park your car near Governor's Bridge at night and turn off all the lights.
I'm like, that's all you gotta fucking do? What if you pull over for a sandwich? Like, you stop at Subway and you're just like, oh, on the way home, I think I'm gonna pull over here, eat my sandwich. And you summon the goddamn Goat Man into this world?
Yeah, that's the same as the Hook Man. God damn it. Okay, so Texas Goat Man. Okay, we've got a couple of these. So locals warn that driving across the bridge without headlights is a surefire way to have an audience with the Goat Man on the other side. So actually, the bridge in Denton, Texas, is a rail bridge that doesn't have a road, so that actually doesn't count. But okay, knocking on the bridge 3 times at night is another way of summoning him, who will then judge you. Okay, so this goes into my other stuff. So the knocking 3 times is in sort of ghost lore or demonology lore. I hate demonology.
Yeah, it's the bastardization of the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, it's silly. I mean, but you know, demonology. I'm just gonna quote last podcast on the left. Demonologists are scared of their own jobs.
I can see that 100%.
Demons, oh, it's a bad fucking business.
So, Max, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's debunk this motherfucker.
Well, no, hold on. Let me tell I just want to go into some more summoning of the Goatman in Texas, if that's all right. Okay, so you can potentially and this was done on Ghost Adventures by my favorite member of the Ghost Adventures crew, Jay. He used a I what they didn't they didn't actually show all of the summoning ritual because they thought it would be dangerous to show it on TV, so people didn't do it. But it was a cross between a Sumerian ritual and some Crowley-esque magic, from what I could tell. And
Wait, can you
Jay,
repeat that? I vaped over part of it.
okay,
So,
so I'll repeat it. So on Ghost Adventures, the Ghost Adventures episode of Goatman Bridge, which was actually part of a two-part episode called Route 666, which was a Halloween special. Um, Jay does a summoning ritual beneath the bridge, and they actually didn't show the whole thing because they said it would be too dangerous to show the whole thing because people might try it. But from what I could tell, it was part Sumerian, part Crowley-esque sort of right hand path magic.
oh, so they were
Um,
actually doing real shit.
yeah, this is why I like Jay on the GAC, the Ghost Adventures crew.
Yeah.
Um, is he is very well versed in like the occult and demonology and stuff, and he's very sort of laid back and chilled too. So he does this ritual, and I mean it's TV, but like from what I can tell, all hell kind of broke loose. They didn't see the Goat Man, but like uh, Aaron, the bald guy, looks a lot like Kirby actually. Um, uh, he's a cool guy too. Uh, is thrown, and this is like on camera, and it's not a fucking stunt. Is thrown about 10 feet. He's picked up and thrown from the bridge into a tree.
So
And
what were his injuries on that?
pretty bad. He was cut up pretty bad.
Oh,
He was like, yeah, he was actually hurt. He was cut up pretty bad. He was disoriented. He might have hit his head.
he was cut up.
Um,
Had a bit of
oh yeah,
disorientation. Did he
yeah.
trip over a fucking ghost dog? Because I did, and break his goddamn ankle for 3 months.
Yeah, actually,
Oh, I'm sorry I had to put a few band-aids on. My fucking bad.
I mean, he was covered in leaves.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
big,
Let's
big
throw
fucking
down,
deal.
dude.
I know, seriously. But that is another way to apparently summon not the Goat Man, but something else. But so uh, the other thing is there's a lot of paranormal investigation that's done there. And something that keeps coming up in EVPs, you know, electronic voice phenomena, and ghost box sessions and stuff like that is the name Steve. And I suspect that Steve is related to some sort of ritual that was done there by some weirdos.
So,
And
one of the things that we say, and this is like spoiler alert, um, the name of Jack Dendel or Rendell and the other guy, Oscar Washington, they don't actually exist.
yeah,
Um,
that's actually, yeah, spoiler
so
alert.
so that's like one of our debunking things, and that's coming up here in a sec. But the biggest thing I want you to take away from that is if something's there, it's not the fucking goat man. Um,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I believe something's there, and it's not. It's going by the name of fucking Steve. That's neither Oscar or Jack. So they're dealing with something else at the fucking bridge.
Absolutely. Um, which, uh, sorry, hold on a second. So the other, so I don't know. When do we want to go into the sort of like theories about this stuff, man?
Let's debunk it, dude. We got it
Okay,
right
let's
here.
debunk it. Okay, all right, we're
Why
gonna
why
debunk this shit
theorize like fake shit?
when we can just use logic and facts.
We got this, guys. Logic and
Yeah, we
facts
got.
coming right at you. Let's debunk these
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
okay, so let's debunk the legend. Human beings are superstitious by nature. Yes, we are. We need excitement, so we create urban legends to elicit these feelings and make sense of things that don't make sense, like headless dogs.
Yeah, so
Um,
they literally create these things to like justify them in their mind, when it very well could be something like a glitch in the matrix.
exactly, exactly. That's a good point.
And
Um,
we'll talk about that at a future episode.
oh, absolutely. We're going to talk about all that kind of shit. Okay. Could also be a cautionary tale. So, like, that's a good point. Is a fable type thing, to keep kids from going to that bridge and getting bit by a snake. Um,
Yeah, and not
Crossing,
not only that, like crossings back in the day used to be a lot
yeah,
more dangerous. You had
absolutely,
highwaymen sitting on the other side of the bridge because you're basically single file, and
yeah,
they would surround you and be like, "Give us your money, or we're gonna fucking murk you." And they don't want
yeah,
kids getting into
absolutely,
situations like that.
yeah.
Uh,
Or just playing on a train track that's actually live, like,
oh yeah, this like these are live train tracks, and this is where
yeah,
logic immediately makes the story fucking fall apart.
yeah,
But keep going, Max.
absolutely. Well, um, two members of a prominent families came forward and told the town historian Mark Ops Opsasnik that the story was created to keep kids from wandering off.
So that right there is like telling you basically the Waynes and the fucking uh the Green Lantern guys came forward and were
Yeah,
like, "Hey, you know, we created this fucking story to keep kids from wandering, and it's gotten way bigger than we actually ever intended it to."
I
And
got
the
a little story about how dangerous trains are in a second, but go ahead.
and honestly, if you're gonna have something like that, like the Goatman, and it hits national news, of course other states are gonna fucking copy it.
Oh, fuck yeah,
Texas is
man.
going to apply its own bridge in a much more bigger and badder way.
Yes, they are. Yes, they
Alabama
are.
probably saw the fucking the goat man for real.
Yeah,
Just
or a
because
skunk ape.
Alabamians be crazy. Um,
Yeah,
Florida speaks for itself. Uh, Maryland, I think we've said enough of.
yeah,
I mean, they created the goat man legend.
yeah. And Ontaria Canada. I mean, like, come on. They
They're
probably just were like,
Canadian.
yeah.
That's
They
it.
copy everything we do.
They're like, oh, what's America up to, eh?
Oh, Goatman, eh?
Oh, spicy goat man, eh?
Oh
Boys, we
yeah.
gotta get us some goat men. We're gonna be popular in like fucking China, and that's it.
I don't know. Maybe if we just rip on states, they might actually like it.
Hey,
Who knows?
China's where the money's at. That's all I'm saying.
It's true.
We're doing this for you, Chinese government, but not really.
I'm making
Pay us.
Chinese subtitles for this.
Yeah,
Um,
Disneyfied.
okay, Texas Goatman, and this is we already said this, but we'll just say it again. Neither Jack Kendall or Oscar Washburn are anywhere in the census or history books.
They're nowhere there. These
Yeah,
like none of these records exist. 14 people weren't killed. Jack Kendall and
no.
Oscar Washburn are nowhere in the vicinity of that area.
Mm-mm.
And it's like
Okay,
you would at least find some shred of evidence. The only thing that exists is that there was a doctor named Fletcher and there was the USDA, but we'll get to that in a second.
absolutely. Um, let's see. Okay, so the Maryland Goatman, University of Maryland folklorist Barry Lee Pearson. That's a job I'd like, by the way.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I think that would be fun.
Fuck yeah. Believes the legend of the Goatman began long, long ago and is kept alive today by local bored teens drawing attention down on an area like Fletchertown Road. Goes even further to describe why a goat. The satyr, Greco-Roman times, was seen as a keeper of the woodlands. He was drunk all the time and lustful.
This guy kicks ass.
Yeah, I mean, Greco-Roman half goat man. He's touching some boys. Um, Cult that
Hey,
worshipped.
no judgment against the goat man.
Yeah, no, hey, no judgment. Cult that worshipped Dionysus. Interesting. Led by a man dressed as a goat. I mean, yeah, they love doing that. Rumored to get drunk and eat animals raw.
This was actually denied by them for some reason. I don't understand it, but but I think this was denied or it was never verified.
Well, the cult of Dionysus, I know, was big on hallucinogens and drinking. So
There you go. They got
yeah,
drunk and ate shrooms all day.
yeah, there you go.
They got half of it
Goats,
right.
half of it right. Exactly. Goats can be terrifying. I mean, yeah, they're pretty scary. Though smelly and kind of charming, their eyes are all freaky looking. And that is true. Their eyes are fucking freaky looking.
Goats'
And they got
eyes look fucking weird, dude. And that's the thing. It's like the charmingness of a goat draws you in until you stare them full in the face.
true.
and you
And
realize,
they faint too, apparently.
and then they faint on you.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
those
so
goats are fucking hilarious. So I don't know.
this one I love because it's ridiculous. Okay.
This is the best.
The USDA facility in Beltsville had has been forced to completely deny the mad scientist origin story in 2013.
The government had to come forward and deny it. And they don't really talk about shit because they don't want you to know what they're up to. But if they come forward and deny something, that means they're probably denying something.
Hey, okay. This is how stupid the American people are. That they could believe that in the 1950s, a mad scientist had cracked the genome, had discovered DNA, and spliced DNA before any of this was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like they knew what DNA was, but like nowadays we have tools to splice DNA like at a molecular level, like and print it. In the 1950s, they had scalpels. Like
Okay.
this didn't happen.
No. The government didn't come forward and was like, "Hey guys, the Goatman doesn't exist with this hand while doing something with this hand." They approached it like, Jesus fucking Christ, I have to say this to them. Yeah. Don't fuck the goats.
You're not going to get a Goatman baby. Stop fucking the goats.
We're not fucking goats over here, guys.
Exactly. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Okay. Again, 1950s. So, just as a side note, there was an experiment in the 1950s by a mad scientist to see if he could like reattach nerves after a severed head. He took two monkeys, cut the head off one, actually cut the head off both, took one of the heads, put it on the body, attached it, and it lived for about 30 minutes. But couldn't move its arms and legs. But still, that's 1950s gene splicing. That's not, no. Okay.
A Goatman wouldn't have lived this long.
No, it would have been a man with a goat's head on a hospital bed just going.
1950s, he'd be lucky to get a fucking potato to keep him alive.
Exactly. Okay, after the 1957 sighting, a shotgun-led manhunt, local authorities deemed the sightings a deranged and deaf cow dog wandering around the area.
These motherfuckers are mistaking a dog for a 6-foot-tall fucking Goatman. How high on goddamn acid do you need to be to see that?
Oh, God, I know. Or just drunk. I mean, if you just fucking drinking all day, Maryland trash, just like
I have been trashed before.
Goatman.
I don't look at dogs and be like, "Oh, that's a cryptid."
That's true. That's a good point.
Like, I know what a fucking dog looks like. I don't see like a 3-foot dog and go, what if it's another 4 feet and had horns?
Walked on 2 legs, bipedal. Okay. When the detached head of the dog was found, bored teens blew the Goatman story up. The town became unhinged. Graffiti would pop up. Sightings increased. Stories started circulating. So do we know who cut the dog's head off, or was it just like he fell into a fucking fence or something?
No, it's not that hard. Sherlock Holmes would solve this in about 5 seconds. And then he'd be like, why the fuck did you bring me all the way to Maryland to, like, tell you guys what happened?
Occam's razor.
All you have to do is, like, fucking look at her house over here on the left and then look to the right and see train tracks and go, huh.
Oh.
Maybe it wasn't a 6-foot-tall Goatman after all that decapitated that fucking dog. Maybe it was one of the 3,000 trains that go through the fucking area. Huh.
So, when I was 15, a girl convinced me to hop a train with her, like a hobo.
Yeah.
It's kind of this sort of subculture of punk. And 2 reasons I did it. 1, she was a girl. 2, she had pills. So we were gonna hop a train and hop trains to get to her parents' house in Alabama. So I went from my place in Sonoma County to Sacramento, which is the shithole. We hopped a train. I got on the train, and hopping a train is not like what you think, where you get into a boxcar and you're just like, this is pretty nice. I got like hay to lay on and all that shit. No, you hop the train and it's incredibly dangerous. People lose limbs this way. You got to get, even when it's moving really slow. It's the thing is huge and it'll fucking kill you. You jump on like like one of those oil tanker things, and they have like a catwalk between the cars. You jump on that and you hang out on the catwalk. I got to God, what's the city? I basically got almost to Nevada, and I was like, "This is too much for me. I'm going home." And I got a Greyhound. So,
Guys, I want to point out, there's a lot of people that say a lot of shit like that, and are just like they don't mean it. Um, Max taught me how to pick locks and fucking break out of handcuffs. I don't disbelieve this story for one fucking bit. He probably did this shit.
Honestly, the thing that makes it true is she had pills.
Yeah, that's the icing on the cake.
Right? Like, I at that point in my life, like if a chick was like, I got a bag of painkillers. Do you want to like do something that's incredibly dangerous? You could lose your head or a limb or something. Yeah, I'm going.
Dude, it's oh, so I kind of want to touch upon the hysteria of this town. Like,
Absolutely.
you got a decapitated dog showing up in the field, and then you got a sensationalist news piece being like the Goatman did it.
Got
Uh,
a bunch of teens pushing it too, probably laughing their asses off.
oh yeah, like they went, oh, this is fun, and then they went and wrote graffiti all over the place. Sightings are going to increase because there's this thing called like mass hysteria,
Yeah,
where if one person sees something and suggests it to the other person, they'll see it too. And it's a collective thought thing that we weirdly have. Uh,
it's
think
true.
think about it like this way: like if you're sitting there with a friend, and ahead of you is a darkened hallway, and he's like, "Hey, I think I just saw something move down there." You're going to be looking for something, and the very fact that you're looking for something, it blows your fucking mind, and you put something there.
You just described half of the Ghost Adventures sightings.
Yeah, I know. so, so we are suggestive creatures, is what I'm saying. And if someone's
Absolutely.
saying the goat man, the whole town's saying the goat man.
Yeah,
What?
and if some chick's interviewing a bunch of teens about like what they saw, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, we saw a guy who had a head of a goat."
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Here's where I think. Here's what I think happened, and here's what I think. Actually, let's finish up this last part with
Okay,
Raymond's
yeah,
testimony,
I
and
got it.
we'll sit there and I'll tell you what I think happened is the full story of the goat man.
Okay, so Raymond Hayden, brother of John Hayden, told a reporter named Sean Daly that the Washington City of from the Washington City paper the following: the 1957 sightings told the story of a man named Albert who was slightly unhinged, would walk the train tracks carrying a double-edged axe. Wow, what a badass! And mingle with the hobos. Wow. He was harmless though,
And
even though he had a double-edged axe.
I do want to kind of point out this guy was just like mentally unstable, but he
Yeah.
wasn't someone that was running around terrorizing the town. And
No,
this
he
is where
wasn't.
you can get like an easy sighting of the 1957's like beginning, where the
Yeah.
Goatman was first sighted. Is someone could mistake this guy in the woods walking down because he's kind of a fucking woodsman, a little hillbilly,
Yeah.
carrying a double-edged axe.
Yeah, he's probably got a beard. He's just kind of hairy, like, and people just they hallucinate the horns, or they just put the horns there in their memory or something.
Yeah. And then
Exactly.
it's like suggestive. We once again go, oh, a goat man's on the loose. Because we read a news article the day before saying a goat man's on the loose.
Exactly. All
Even though
right.
that happened much later, but go on.
Yeah. So Ginger the dog claims his brother John made up the whole story to scare the town, given the injuries sustained, most likely a train accident,
It's
like we were
right
saying.
fucking there.
Yeah.
Like, this guy. Oh, finish it. I'll tell
Uh,
you the
so
whole
he,
theory.
so we're surprised it's still alive as it took on a life of its own. Though John declined to comment, he told the reporter that Raymond Hayden wasn't around during that time. Furthermore, good old Ray told the reporter where Albert was buried, but they never found a gravestone.
All right, let me break this down for you people.
Yeah,
One,
let's do it.
they never found a gravestone because Raymond Hayde didn't have the fucking name correct. He was like, it was Albert or Alfred or something like that.
Yeah, of
Yeah, which
course.
seems suspicious at first till you realize you don't really pay attention to the woodsman.
Exactly. You don't like his name's Albert, maybe, and he's got a fucking double-edged axe. Like,
Yeah, so this guy got the name wrong and they couldn't find the gravestone because of it.
exactly.
Two,
Exactly.
his brother John said, what was that? Raymond Hayden wasn't around during this time. Okay,
Yeah.
let allow me to explain this to everybody. This is the guy that decided to terrify an entire town with a fucking goat man. Of course, he's not going to cop up to it. he's,
Exactly.
he's having way too much fucking fun realizing he's scared the town and the rest of the world into believing a mythological creature walks the plains of fucking Maryland, and he's having the time of his life with it. And this reporter coming over and going, "Hey, Raymond said this. Doesn't necessarily mean he didn't make it fucking up."
I know his brother's covering for him. Come on.
Yeah, his brother's like, yeah, he did it. And guess what? If someone came up and accused my brother accusing me of something, I'm going to take the devil's side simply because it's my fucking brother. I'm going to go
Exactly.
against him. So,
Exactly.
of course, he's going to say Raymond Hayden wasn't around during that time, discrediting the one witness they have because it's his fucking brother.
Exactly.
And he's having fun with the joke.
Man,
So,
you broke it down perfectly.
I'm not done.
Go ahead.
Here's the debunkment of the fucking Goatman, starting from the beginning. We got two.
You got a debunker.
We got two prominent families coming up to the town historian claiming they created the story. Their families created the fucking story to scare children away from the creeks. And it fucking worked. Up until the point in 1957 when they had the first sighting of the supposed goat man. And yet, here's the tricky thing. Though they did a statewide fucking manhunt for the goat man, he was never found, but they did find out they had a deranged dog on the loose. However, the fact that the goat man already exists and the teens are starting to fuck with it, they're gonna blow the story up. Which leads us, in the next point of the story, to Ginger the dog. The perfect catalyst for this whole thing to blow over. A decapitated dog shows up in the fucking woods one night. The woman saw something the night before. Could be something, we're not sure. But it doesn't matter because the decapitated dog shows up in the woods the next day. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, these two people come and report it. Two people that saw it. Two teenage boys. I know what I was like as a teenager. I used to fuck with my brother by hiding the cable from him. I know what I would do in this situation. I'd run up to the nearest lady and be like, the goat man did it. For one, because I don't want to get blamed with killing a fucking dog. Like, what if they see me next to the dog and go, he did it? And it's like, no, I didn't. I found the fucking body. I'm going to have to spend time down at the police station answering questions I don't want to. Two,
Exactly. The goat man did it.
to fuck with the town like a motherfucker. So, having.
I'd do it now as a 40-year-old man.
Yep. So they said the goat man did it, right? And then they kind of just toyed with it a bit, and then the teenagers took it, and then it blew up way bigger than they ever expected to. And that leads us to the fucking articles going, the goat man's
Yeah.
loose. Which, by the way, she published an article 2 weeks before that, digging into the archives, found the goat man myth that was made up by the two fucking prominent families and released it to the public saying this happened in our history while leaving prominent fucking facts out. And she followed that 2 weeks later because the goat man's still fresh on her mind, and the whole town had just read about the fucking goat man, blamed the decapitated dog on him. She took it and went, people will read this article, made a fake fucking article. The town lost its mind. The teens ran with it, and suddenly it's international.
Yeah, she's definitely no. Who is the chick in West Virginia? Mary Hire. She's definitely no Mary Hire.
No, she's not, and that's
Yep,
why I think the goat man is fake.
absolutely. Okay, so let's just talk about what the goat man might be, and I've got some theories about the Texas one. Okay, so demon thoughts.
I think the goat man in Texas is this, right? I don't think he's a goat
Yes.
man. I think what happened after it went international, Alabama took it up. Florida's stupid, so they probably mistook a bunch of skunk apes for the goat man just because they
It's
wanted to.
international because of Ontario.
Yep. And then Canada learned about it, and Canada does what Canada does and copies America in the worst way
Yeah.
possible. So, and then Texas heard about it and was like, "Oh, you guys got a scary story? Well,
We're
to
got a better one.
everything's better in Texas." And they made
It's
the Alton Bridge a legit haunted fucking place that's probably
it,
haunted by a demon that was
it is
summoned
an
there
attraction.
improperly.
Yep. That's my so that's my theory. Okay. So that my theory about the goat man in Denton, Texas is the bridge was spooky. There was some lore behind it. So some idiots tried to do some right hand path magic there and summoned something, maybe named Steve, or because we do have evidence of like a lot of EVPs that are actually like super clear and tonal, which is the best kind of EVP.
Now, my
And
question is, did it appear before or after it got famous? Right?
after,
Like,
after,
because if it's after, then that could have drawn ghost hunters to a fixed spot, only to bring something to it.
yeah, or yeah, I couldn't. Maybe it wasn't even a ritual. Maybe it was just a tulpa created by a bunch of ghost hunters going to a spot trying to get fucking evidence.
So they created their own enemy.
Exactly. So the thing about the goat man, or whatever's there, um, is it attacks women mostly, and so it attacks men physically, but women sort of psychologically. So if you watch the episode of Ghost Adventures, they have a still photographer named Ashley who's on a lot, who was actually married to Jay, and she gets like psychologically attacked by the goat man. She goes a little bonkers, and then and actually this actually lends more evidence to Aaron getting thrown too. She does a session where she goes out into the dark without any night vision or anything. She's just in the dark yelling at the ghost or whatever, and it whacks her in the back of the head. And I don't think it was again. I don't think it was fake. Like you watch the footage, she gets fucking bonked and falls down, and then basically like they end the episode saying like after this Ashley quit because of an attachment, and then if you listen to there's an interview that Henry Zabrowski and Ben Kissel did with Jay Walsley Walsley from where he says where they ask him about like the effects that what he does have on his life, and he says, "Well, it caused me to get divorced." So basically, whatever's at Goatman Bridge followed Ashley home and caused her and Jay to break up.
Well, no. So here's the thing. I don't for one second think that there's nothing there. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
like it's the very fact that that weird shit is happening is evidence of a demon. I mean, that's the thing. It fucks with
Quote
the
unquote
mind.
demon, whatever a demon might be. Yeah,
It can be physical. Like, it probably caused them to get divorced.
absolutely.
And we've
I,
seen that firsthand when we went ghost hunting. Remember that negative feeling that we'd get every time
yeah,
we were out in the field?
and we got into the worst fight of our relationship in Point Pleasant.
Yeah, over something incredibly dumb.
Yeah, for hours we discussed Dune.
Yeah. And honestly, it was pretty dumb, but we picked ourselves back up the next day,
Yeah,
and that's one thing Max and I are really good at. We pick each other up when one of us wants to give up. You know?
yeah, we do actually. You did that a lot, and I did that a lot. I think it's great. Even
Yeah.
me kicking a hole in a door, we're still fine.
um, but what I think is this thing is clearly not a goat man. I mean, otherwise there'd be a
No,
goat
yeah,
man there.
nobody's seen the goat man. Like, there's no sightings of the goat
Then
man,
how
but
can you call it the goat man?
yeah,
It's the
exactly.
invisible man at that point. Like,
So
it's,
basically, Goatman Bridge is a great place to go ghost hunting. That's what it is.
yeah, that's it. Because they probably went there thinking, there was something there, and either created a topo, which we'll get into,
Yeah,
or at a later episode, or a what's the other one? Or
Uh,
someone actually performed a summoning ritual
yeah,
there that
exactly.
didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, people do that all the time. We've said it in the last episode. Aleister Crowley, even though he was a fucking crazy power bottom, uh, would spend months before he did a ritual to protect himself.
Yeah,
And
like his setup was Gucci, bro. Like
oh yeah,
he was untouchable on the astral plane. Compare that to a couple like fucking schoolgirls that just bust out on a Ouija board.
yeah.
You
And
know?
Jay on the show is he even says that he did a ritual and cleansed himself before he does the ritual under the bridge. So like he did it right. Like he didn't fuck around. And then he closed the circle. He closed the fucking ritual properly.
Hey, I just want to point out I am not against anybody doing rituals. In
No,
fact, I
absolutely
think
not.
you guys
Do
should
it.
go out, go experience the Ouija board, go experience
Yeah.
like all the weird shit that's out there, but do it safely. Read up on the
Yeah.
protections you need before you walk into them.
Yeah. And
Uh,
maybe go the left hand path magic. It's a lot more, fun.
like for instance, after our fucking ghost hunt where it got super tense, we would start burning sage at the end of it,
Yeah.
and
I
that
would say
helped.
the I would say the Ashkaveno prayer, which is a prayer to protect us in the darkness, which I think it did.
It did, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause shit gets weird out there sometimes. But
absolutely.
so be prepared for it. You know.
Yeah. So the other shit we've got here is monster or myth. It's not a cryptid. Sorry.
I think we've covered this, guys. The Goatman
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
absolutely.
But I
Uh,
can give you some good news. You ready for this, Max?
yes, I'm ready for this.
So, guys, next week we're going to. We had decided to do a Christmas special, and we looked at fucking like different Christmas stories, and we're like, this is all about love and being together and just the spirit of the holiday. And we thought, fuck all that, and threw it out the window, and thought, give us the toast to Odin, give us the blood sacrifices. I want some fucking Yule in my life, guys. Next week we are covering Krampus.
Yes. And you know what? The fucking Vikings did it right.
The
They,
Vikings did it
they,
right. I'm looking at this and I'm researching this and I'm like, this is the metal fucking holiday.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
asked Dad today. I asked Dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, can we do traditional Christmas where we slaughter a goat and like spread the blood all over the walls? And he's like, who's paying for it? And I'm like, well, you are. And he did. I don't think we're doing traditional Christmas this year.
no. Yeah, I would love to go full Norris and actually kill a person, but I'd get arrested. Um, Even if they were willing, that's the thing about the Vikings. They had willing participants to be blood sacrifices, and then some crazy person would slit their throat. It was fucking nuts. But
Like a real
before
man.
it, like a real man. But before it, if it was like a woman, that woman would get all drunk and fuck every guy in the village. I'm
Okay.
just taking that. I'm taking that from the show Vikings.
So Max has some exciting news to share too, and this is kind of big.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 weeks from now, we don't have a date yet. 2 weeks from now, our sister brother podcast, whatever you want to call it, my brain is hanging upside down, is coming back. We are doing Beastie Boys. It's a two-parter. We tried to do part one, didn't get recorded, which is good because it sucked. We're gonna do it right. We're gonna have a great fucking show, and we're coming back strong. Josh will be back, and we're gonna discuss the awesomeness that was the Beastie Boys, and it's a great story.
We're gonna do the Beastie Boys right. Think of it like a soft reboot, kind of like how we've rebooted the Stone Gauntlet.
Exactly.
It's gonna be the best for everybody. It's gonna be awesome. We got some other
Absolutely.
projects in the work. We got some topics coming up that are exciting.
Yes.
We're not ready to reveal them yet, but I'll let you know. I'm excited to delve deep into them because they're questions I've always had.
That does remind me. I was going to say this. So Denton, Texas, right?
Yeah.
So in America, there's a convergence of ley lines that basically creates a pentagram in like through continental United States. And Denton, Texas is right on that ley line, which we're going to discuss ley lines in another episode, but that is something to keep in mind, that that bridge is part of like the satanic pentagram of the United States.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to end the show, Max.
I agree too.
So, guys, I want you all to let you know, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for supporting us. We'll be back next week bringing you some Krampus, which I'm excited to look forward to. And,
the anti-Santa.
The anti-Santa. The fun one.
The fun one.
Your turn.
All right. I'm signing off. Stay obsessed, guys.
Keep it weird, guys.
All right.